Right, let's return to a story we tried to do earlier, discussing the double murder of liquidator Cloete Murray and his son Thomas over the weekend with Paul O'Sullivan of Forensics for Justice. Paul, before we continue, let's just see if our audio is working. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Sally.
That's wonderful. We have triumphed over technology and we're able to communicate. I'm very pleased. So Cloete Murray was working on the liquidation of Bosasa, which of course is a company that was implicated in state capture, now known as African Global Operations. It wasn't a simple liquidation. It really was the kind of detailed forensic investigation, I suppose, that liquidators sometimes have to do when there's dodgy business linked to companies. Could you just start by explaining the kind of work that Murray and his son were likely doing around Bosasa specifically?
Well, as I've said, unfortunately, in a number of interviews, the focus appears to be from the media that they're focusing on the Bosasa liquidation. Cloete Murray and his firm, Sechaba Trust, were doing a lot more than just the Bosasa liquidation, or African Global as it's called now. Now, we've asked the media not to focus on that. We're not saying we're excluding it, but we want to focus on all the work that Cloete Murray and his son Thomas were involved in. And in that regard, we've started building up a list of all the liquidations the pair of them worked on. And we expect probably by next week we'll have that list completed. And then we're going to start doing some research on that list and comparing it to the leads that we've already received, because we have received a few leads. And we're going to try and work out who the person of interest or persons of interest in this investigation might be. But we are steadily making ground.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually going to be my next question, that it is known that he was working on a number of really sensitive cases. He was a highly experienced liquidator, working on a lot of very sensitive cases that people arguably might not have wanted him delving into. News 24, of course, also reporting on another case that he was working on the day that he was murdered, involving sort of high-end cars, high-end properties. This is the sort of work that he did. So safe to say, I would imagine then, that this hit could have come from anyone who didn't want him probing into their affairs.
Yeah, you're quite right, Sally. And the other thing is, what we have been able to pick up already is that there was an extremely high amount of animosity against Murray Cloete and his family and his firm from other persons in the liquidation industry. And we're now building up a list of all those persons, and we'll be inviting them to come in so that we can interview them and establish what they know. Because you may or may not know, and the viewers may or may not know, but the liquidation industry in South Africa is divided. And I would say approximately, and I'm just taking a thumbsuck on this, so don't hold me to it, approximately 60% of the liquidation industry is run by dishonest people. And we're talking about people who pay bribes to be appointed liquidators. And once they get appointed liquidators, they sell assets at well below market price, and they sell assets to people who are prepared to pay kickbacks to them to sell them at well below market price. Furthermore, they ignore their fundamental duty as a liquidator, which is to issue a report to the master's office as to what conduct by the directors of the company caused the liquidation in the first place. Now, and then, of course, if they do issue such an honest report, which many of them don't, one is left wondering what the master will do with it, because we've identified that where bribes are being paid in the master's office to appoint certain liquidators, one can't really expect that those liquidators will do a good job and apply some fiduciary duties. So that is a serious issue. And we've even got some tape recordings now of certain liquidators who have even stated to other persons, not realizing they're being recorded, that Cloete Murray had it coming and he deserved what he got. Well, we know who those people are, and we'll be pushing back against them. We'll be asking the police to bring them in and interview them.
I mean, this is fascinating information, Paul. And you know, when you spoke about potentially dodgy liquidators, that it's quite a divided profession, I was thinking instantly of what happened at the R1m mine. And again, that was an unscrupulous, unethical stripping of assets. It's very complicated, it's very murky, and it seems that you are taking a very active role in trying to get to the bottom of this. Talk to me about how you work with the police. I mean, obviously they've got their investigation going as well. Do you work hand in hand? Just talk me through that.
Yes, obviously we don't disclose too much of what's going on, but we've had a meeting with a general this morning. We had a meeting with a general on Monday of this week, despite Julius Malema trying to insist that we shouldn't be working. And you know, the police are doing what they do. What we're doing is we're doing a lot of the donkey work, the sort of work which would flush out some of the people that we would class as persons of interest. And we've identified a number of people already. We've managed to get hold of some video footage. We've managed to get a lot of information already, and we've received a number of tip-offs. So, and curiously, the people that have given us the tip-offs are not interested in the reward. They just want to see the people behind this assassination brought to justice, very much the same as we do. And we will leave no stone unturned to ensure that the persons behind this assassination are indeed brought to justice.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the R1 million that you've offered, leading to basically making sure that the people who ordered this hit end up behind bars. What were you hoping to achieve by that? I mean, it sounds to me, from what you're saying, is that actually you're getting a flood of information anyway.
Well, yeah, but the information we're getting at the moment, as I've just said, is coming from people that are not interested in the reward. What we're hoping to do is to flush out some of the individuals that might be interested in the reward and know who pulled the trigger. Now, in some of the cases that we've been involved in, the reward has been instrumental in bringing forward information which has cracked the case. Mm-hmm. In other cases, the reward has had no effect whatsoever. But it's a governing factor. Now, we've been speaking to a number of individuals, and we've been told that, without being named, certain individuals want to add 2 million rand to the 1 million rand that we put up as a reward. Now, if we can get that, then we'd be looking at a 3 million rand reward, and we're hoping that that will loosen one or two tongues.
Well, Paul O'Sullivan, thank you so much for just unpacking this for us and just giving us a sense of what is at stake and how complicated it is. It's not just potentially the people that they were liquidating. There's a lot of infighting within the industry, a lot of unscrupulous players. And Paul O'Sullivan, founder of Forensics for Justice, thank you very much for your time this evening. They're actively involved in trying to assist the police as they hope to find those who ordered the killing of liquidator Cloete Murray and his son Thomas.